well, what do all these words mean in context to it? Now the Alexa Skills Kit, which is probably the thing that you are going to be working on, is where you develop a skill yourself for it, and you build that skill just to interact with an existing echo for it. The skills, the speech recognition, they are hosted on Amazon's cloud. So you write your software, but it's always uploaded to the cloud, so you can work it from anywhere. So I can sort of write my own skill and it will work wherever I've plugged in my own echo then. It doesn't only work sort of at home. If that echo is linked to my account, it'll recognise that sort of particular skill. So that's that Amazon Skills Kit that potentially you're using. And it's got, as I said, speech recognition and the language understanding built into it. And then there's this other one, the Amazon Voice Services, which is what manufacturers are picking up on, rather than software developers, although sort of both are interested in it. This is where you're building that voice recognition into your own devices, whether it's in the car, watch, whichever sort of device you like. So you don't actually have to have the Amazon Echo itself. They'll supply the software that's inside that to go inside your car or inside your TV to do that sort of voice recognition. It still does the same thing in the background. It still sort of passes a message out to this skill on the cloud. It's just this device bit about collecting the information can be done in your own one using that sort of voice service. So the sorts of things that it's looking to recognise are phrases. And these are the sorts of things that you see on the adverts for Amazon, like asking Capital One or asking your credit card, what did you spend last week, or asking Uber for a taxi. Tell Starbucks to start my order, so you can sort of get the order started just when you're sort of walking out. Now that sort of thing might not be necessarily very good, say in your home, and you're living 30 minutes on Starbucks or something. But if you're just driving along, you can just sort of flick a thing to start your order going, and saying, okay, ask Starbucks to order me a latte, knowing that you'll be there in 5 minutes. Rather than spending all 5 minutes in the queue, you get there, more or less sort of driving sort of type thing to sort of pick it up from. So this is the other reason why companies are getting interested in it and building their own skills for it. So that's what they're referred to as a skill. Is just this ability to recognise certain key phrases, the words within it, and then what to do of it. There's two parts to it. There's recognising the phrase, and then there's what to do just at the back. Now these things weren't. I didn't actually include the printouts of these in the main handout, so they are up there on Moodle. But if you want a bit more sort of info on these, there's all the code that might be sort of demonstrated available on GitHub, or you can go to the sort of Amazon Alexa Skills sort of part to it to sort of get in there with it. So the way in which you operate one of these skills, as they're called, you can just upload a skill to your own account, and you just open that or start it. So you ask Alexa, open, and then whatever your skill name is, space facts, taxi ride, or something like that, to sort of get it. Now that is only until it's actually on sale, because you can have there's different types of skills you can get. You can get skills that you just download to your machine and become instantly recognisable. So you can say along the lines of Alexa, order me a taxi, and it's known. Through to one that isn't yet installed on the machine, where you have to say something like, Alexa, ask Uber to order me a taxi. So where some things where it knows what you're saying from the context, and others where you specifically have to say the skill name to it. You only get that ability for it to be built in when you formally publish it. So you've got these wake-up words. Can be Alexa, can be Echo, I think. Currently you're limited to about 3 or 4 wake-up words, which is unlike some of the other ones like Google. You can have sort of other ones built into it. But it is getting to the line along the lines of what you do see in the science fiction things where they say a computer turn on lights or something. I mean, whether or not they borrowed that sort of general idea from science fiction and the like, but it's very much that same approach to it. You have a wake-up word, some sort of starting phrase, open, start, begin, and then that skill invocation name, space facts, if that's what the names of it are about. So, if we had, say, a skill to, say, deliver random facts or quotes or something like that for it, what's being picked up here is how to build those phrases in. What are the phrases, what's the interface to this? What's the voice user interface? It's talking about all different types of user interface. So we've had GUIs and things like that. You've got voice user interfaces now, where you're going to recognise these keywords of intents and utterances. An utterance, what you say. An intent, what you want to do for it. Things like one-shot versus multi-turn interactions. Is it just something where you say, do this, and that's all you need to say? Or is it a bit of chain of things that you want to say? Sort of one phrase after another for it. Then running in the background is this AWS Lambda, which might be more of use to people perhaps doing the enterprise programming. It's the ability to run software on a virtual machine to it. You can define what the actual sort of piece of software is and then just say, okay, run this on this virtual machine. I don't care what that machine is, just run it on some remote computer for it. Now what that is dealing with is once you've got these utterances and you've got the intents, once it's recognised what you're actually asking for, who's going to actually do that? So you might say something like, turn on the lights in the living room, or play Kill Bill 2 or something like that to it. But then somebody's got to handle that. It's recognised what you want to do, but then the implementation of it's got to be somewhere else. Now that can either be hosted on Amazon servers, or it might be your own server somewhere. That actual implementation of something can be on any web service, wherever you like. Obviously Amazon are trying to push you to do their sort of one. There is a level of skill certification where you can get these things published to the outside world once they've been vetted, if you like, to actually work for it. So those two sides to the skill are this front-end voice recognition, recognising what you want, who's going to do it, and then the back-end part to it, the actual implementation of it, the people sort of doing it. Your voice user interface and that programming logic. Now, as I say, that programming logic can be anywhere. So if you can set something up that's set up as a web service, permanently running, can just take a request from it and then send a response back, the voice user interface just sits in the front end of that. And again, it's a bit like one of these, if anybody who's done the enterprise program, it's on a model view controller approach for this. So the front end, if you're using Amazon's set, they've got this developer, Amazon.com, where they'll do your voice interfaces. And the back end is just this Amazon Web Services hosting the web service itself. As I say, it can be anywhere really for that sort of idea. So, stages to go through. You build a voice user interface. We'll have a look at that sort of section just in a second. You create a Lambda function, this thing that actually implements it. Connect the two together, so that when you say something, you've actually got something to work on. Get it tested, get a customization, and then possibly publication of it. Now you can publish these just on your own account if you like, and just say, well, I'll write my own skill just for my own Echo account. Or you can publish it to the outside world and hopefully start to make money out of it or something. But initially, you're probably just going to put it on your sort of own one. So the different things are at different places. The voice user interface, there over at the developer Amazon. We develop the Lambda function on the Amazon Web Services, optionally, to it. And these last three, the bits about testing and integrating it, you'll do, again, over the sort of developer site, linked into either an actual device or this emulator for it. And even if you don't want to work, if you want to work in a sort of quiet environment, if you don't want a sort of voice thing blasting out in the response, you can just type in the message and get the message coming back, and we'll, again, so I'll show you that sort of approach. You can get it coming back as a bit of JSON script, what that sort of response is. The language that you write these things in, there's a range of them. Most of them are written in JavaScript, Node sort of type thing, but you can develop it in PHP, you can develop it in Java, there's a range of C#, there's a range of languages to sort of work on. And you'll develop a project structure with these speech assets, sample utterances that you want it to recognise, so you just have a list of phrases that you want to have. So if it's, say, a media player, you might want phrases like next track, stop, pause, all the sorts of things that you might think about controlling a media player with. Then the intent schema is which particular program runs which utterance for it. They're just bits of sort of data, if you like, the assets.